This video is brought to you by Dirty Duck Coffee. If your coffee sucks, it ain't the duck. And with 9 different blends, there's a flavor for every hunter. Find them at dirtyduckcoffee.com. And by Four Rivers Layout Boats for a handmade quality product made right up the road in Missouri and the best customer service guaranteed. And for the best sell cameras, feeders, and feeders accessories, look no further than moletreeproducts.com.
Kill him!
What the hell's going on, folks? And welcome to episode 38 of the Bustin' Bubbles Outdoors podcast. Hey, y'all know, before we get rolling into this thing, I've kind of got a new way that I'm going to do the intros and talk about the sponsors and stuff. I'm going to try to upload this video on YouTube, this video podcast, try to start uploading all of our podcasts on YouTube as well, and put the new intro onto the podcast itself. And then also I'm going to try to figure out a way to put that onto when I put that out on the internet, on the streaming services and stuff. So we're going to jump straight over that today. I'm not going to say anything about the sponsors and stuff, but I will say that last week we were able to start working with Dirty Duck Coffee. They are now sponsoring the podcast and the videos. We're super excited about that. I know I drink Dirty Duck Coffee every day. I have for the last 2 years. Not every day for the last 2 years, but when I've drank coffee for the last 2 years, it's been exclusively Dirty Duck. And then to go along with that, over the last month, I've been drinking it every single day. And I've been on the Dirty Duck High Velocity. I love that stuff. As well as Missouri Boat Ride. Those are my two favorite coffees from those guys right now. You can use code BUBBLES10 at dirtyduckcoffee.com to get yourself a discount. But rolling on into things, last weekend, Matt and I sat down and we made a podcast. It was me and Matt and his wife Haley. We were going to talk to her about getting involved in hunting, how she feels about things, what she sees that, could be different, or what she likes and don't like, stuff like that. And kind of how, with her being involved in it now, how women in the outdoors industry are viewed, Unfortunately, that episode ended up being crap. Matt went to edit. We used his server last week. And he said when he went to edit, he could hear himself, but he could not hear me. That it just sounded like a bunch of static, and that is not the first time that has happened since we've started using Riverside. So we're trying to get our stuff figured out here on the podcast side of things with Riverside, and then trying to get everything to where we can, do the video version, put it on YouTube, do the audio version, put it out on Spotify, Apple Music, stuff like that. It's been a little bit of a difficult thing, if you will. For the longest time, we were using just Spotify for podcasters. It was Anchor when I first started doing this, and then it was Spotify for podcasters. And then Spotify for podcasters decided they were going to take all the tools away and only have Spotify there for uploads, and they recommended using Riverside. So here we are in Riverside. And we seem to have some type of issue ever so often, but that's where we are. We're trying to straighten things out. We're trying to get better about, figuring out how to get the video version downloaded, how to get the video version out there. Some of them that we've done, the video version, it'll download onto our phone or my iPad or whatever just fine, no issues, and then we can put it out from there. And other times, I'll try to download it from the app onto my phone to be able to edit it and put different things in it and stuff. And it just says unable to download. So I don't know. I know it's recommended that you have a computer. I don't have a computer. I don't think Matt has a computer. So that's where we are with trying to do this stuff on the podcast. It's a struggle sometimes, but normally we make it work. 2 of the last 3 episodes we've had to completely scrap because of sound quality issues, whether it be, you couldn't hear me, or you couldn't hear like a guest that we had on, or you couldn't hear something else. It's been a struggle. So, I guess with this is just going to be a quick little short episode here, talking about a couple of things. I want to talk to y'all a little bit about teal season here, early teal season. While I was only able to get out twice, Matt went out, I think, both weeks, or was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Anyways, he went out several times. They had a couple of good hunts. They had a couple of good hunts, but the birds just didn't seem to be here. I only got to go out twice, and I went to a place where last year and the year before, early teal season, so scouting, I'd scout the week before, and the year prior, not last year, the year prior to that, I saw, I don't know, 6, 10 ducks, and we went out and we burned them down on opening day. That whole weekend, pretty much, we burned them down. And then last year, it was the same thing, except I only saw a couple of ducks. But still, we went out opening weekend and we burned them down. We just didn't do that this year. Matt hunted out west this year, opening weekend. He had found a pile of birds out west, and we went to 49 degrees one night the week before opening day. And when we hit 49 degrees, that pretty much sent every single duck, I'm going to say every single teal within Kansas down to what I'm going to assume went straight to the Gulf Coast. Now, I only shot 2 teal this early season. Out of the 2 times I went, I saw 8 birds. Only 2 of them gave me a look. Excuse me. And the 2 that gave me a look, they came back to the house with me. So, it's been slow. It's been rough. The weather has not cooperated very much. We have had 90 degrees, a lot of 90 degrees, a lot of high 80s. While we're dropping into the 50s at night most nights, and the 60s on the nights that we're just not what I feel like getting big, cool pushes quite yet. There have been a couple of nights in the 40s, but then we'll have days in the 80s and then 90s and stuff like that. There were several days this last week where it was 90-something degrees, and that's fine, but it's not fine for the ducks. You know what I mean? So we're trying to do what we can. I'm hoping that we get some pretty good rains in the next month or so, because opening day is the 26th, and we need rain. I know there's a couple of places that we'll hunt that are gonna have water just because of where they're at, but there's a couple of places that we're gonna hunt, or that we hunt, that I'm afraid are just not going to have water, period. I think last year, the week before season, it rained 9 inches in this one place, and that's what really helped this one pool to hold a bunch of water, to get a bunch of water in it, because while they have pump structures there, they can only pump so much in out of the river. I don't know how it works. I don't work for the Corps of Engineers. I don't work for Fish and Wildlife, none of that stuff. So while I would like to see them just turn that pump on and let it pump until the pool is full, I know that that's not very likely. That's not how that works. Although I can sit here and say I wish it was until the cows come home. There's nothing that I can do about that. So it rained 9 inches, 11 inches, something like that. Anyways, we had a pile and a half of water, and they piled it into these couple of holes, and the hunting was immaculate. We went out opening day last year and shot a 3-man in a place that we had never hunted before. And then we hunted there a lot of the season last year, and we consistently whooped up on the birds. We were consistently walking out. We didn't always walk out with a limit with a 2-man, with a 3-man, but we would consistently walk out, 1 bird away from a 2-man, 2 birds away from a 2-man, something like that, So here's to hoping for water. We're also going to have another episode on tonight where we're going to go in depth about teal season. We're going to talk about, Matt being military. It was way out west. It was their youth and military weekend this weekend. It sounded like they went out and they had a banger hunt today. Yesterday it seemed not so banger, but today it sounded like they just had a freaking banger. So I'm super stoked to talk about that. I'm super stoked to hear Matt talk about that. And he's got something to say that y'all are going to absolutely love. Because, you've heard us talk about it a couple of times, and I'm super excited. So, anyways, and y'all know, I don't know if I have talked about it much on here since I've started doing the podcast, 2 years ago, but about 2018, I really quit watching sports because everything got so damn political, and I don't really care for the politics. I don't care to listen to people talk about their views on stuff, whether we agree, whether we disagree, I feel like we can still be cordial, but there's so many people out there that if you disagree with them or you don't think the exact same way they do, then they're not going to be cordial with you. They're not going to talk to you. They're gonna call you names and stuff. So I don't care to talk about that with people. Anyways, with that being said, over the last couple of weeks, I have got back into watching football on Saturdays and a little bit on Sundays. And there have been some banger games over the last couple of weeks. Of course, I'm going to say I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, because Roll Tide. Uh, I've always been a Bama fan. I'll always be a Bama fan, even if I swear sports off for whatever reason. I'll always be a Bama fan, no matter what. It's in my blood. Match Georgia. Well, like y'all know, last week Alabama played that instant classic against Georgia, and where Alabama came out on top, 41-34. They were schwacking them boys in the first half. I think it was like 30-0 at halftime, something like that, or 30-7 at halftime. Excuse me. But Georgia came out swinging in the second half there, and I got to say, I was mighty surprised to watch Alabama's defense just give up all of the points that they did, because they let them come out and just score and score and score and score again, and eventually it led to Georgia coming back and getting the lead, and Alabama coming back and getting the lead from Georgia again, and it came down to the last drive of the game. Carson Beck threw an interception in the end zone, and that's pretty well how the game ended. So that was super exciting to watch. I got to say, not having watched sports in the last couple of years, that game was super exciting to watch, and it made me feel just like watching the Tide back in 2017, 2018 when I quit watching it. You know what I mean? It made me feel just like it did back then. So super, super pumped up about that stuff. But then, yesterday, watching some of these games from yesterday, dude, yesterday was a wild day. Several of the top 25 got beat by unranked teams. Two of the top 5 SEC teams, two of the top 5 teams in the country that also happen to be SEC teams, got beat by unranked teams. I don't really want to talk about that, but we're going to talk about it here a little bit. Obviously, Alabama got beat by Vanderbilt 40-35. Who the hell gets beat by Vanderbilt? Nobody. But things happen. They say any given Saturday, anything can happen. That's something I've always heard. And yeah, that was a tough game to watch. From a defensive standpoint, that game was very, very tough to watch, because it seemed like essentially Alabama had no defense. They kept shooting themselves in the foot with penalties, stuff like that, stupid penalties, hands to the face mask, pass interference, running into the kicker, stuff like that, and it was just horrible to watch. So am I surprised that Alabama lost that game? I mean, based on the way the defense played, no. But the way that offense played, or the players that they have on offense, dude, I would expect Alabama to come out and be better, perform better, and handle themselves better in that situation, in that game. I mean, you got Jalen Milroe, you've got a little 17-year-old wide receiver, Ryan Williams. That dude's something else. I tell you what. I don't know what I was doing when I was 17 years old, but it sure as hell ain't what he's doing, because that man is balling. And then you look at J.M. Miller in the backfield, dude. I mean, there's no reason that Alabama should have lost that game in my book. No reason at all. But like I say, any given Saturday, things happen. Things can happen. Anything can happen. I also kind of want to talk about, the Texas A&M and Missouri game yesterday. Of course, Texas A&M and Missouri joined the SEC. Hell, I guess it would have been 2010, 2011, something like that. Maybe a little bit later than that. I don't rightly remember what year they joined, but they joined together. And Missouri has always been trash since they've been in the SEC. I mean, just horrible, horrible team. They have a hard time winning games, it seemed, for the last however many years. And somehow they were ranked number 9 yesterday. And Texas A&M just drugged the floor with Missouri yesterday. I mean, 41-10. It was wild. You know what I mean? Texas A&M came out, put their foot on the gas, and they never let up. I watched a good bit of that game. Missouri had a very hard time scoring. They had a hard time moving the ball. I think for the first 3 quarters, they didn't have a first down, something like that. Not one first down. They converted no times on third down, and they were in that situation a lot where they had third down, third and long, third and medium, and they just couldn't convert, which, of course, from everything that I've seen from Missouri in the last, since they've joined the SEC, I am not surprised at all, because they have been just horrible since they joined the SEC. Louisville was number 22. They got knocked off by SMU 34-27. Not really surprised. Seems like SMU has looked fairly decent over the last couple of weeks, I got to say, which I don't know. Don't know how that came to be, but they've looked decent over the last couple of weeks. And then Georgia-Auburn, Georgia come out on top 31-13. Of course, Auburn sucks, as always. They have quarterback trouble. It seems like they have trouble just all around, as they seem to do every single year. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm glad they suck, because it's Auburn. Ole Miss beat South Carolina yesterday 27-3. I honestly expected Ole Miss to come out and do what Ole Miss does, which is just piss the game away, but they didn't. They were number 12 yesterday. I have not looked at the rankings for this week. I think they came out a little while ago, so we'll see. And then, really, there ain't nothing else to talk about, that way, except for the Tennessee-Arkansas game. That was a great game, I gotta say. Arkansas came out on top 19-14. Tennessee was ranked number 4. That's, as I said, 2 of the top 5 teams in the country were SEC teams, and both of them got beat by unranked teams. So, pretty freaking wild. Michigan, number 10, got beat by Washington 27-17. Minnesota and USC, that was a freaking barn burner. I watched the last, 5-10 minutes of that game, and they were tied 17-17 when I turned it over there. USC was number 11, and Minnesota, unranked, came out 24-17. That was a wild game. And then Miami, California, I was watching that game last night. At some point, Cal was up big, and I said, well, I'm going to lay down or whatever. And I lay down, and I woke up this morning, and I seen a little message about Miami came out on top. Excuse me, 39-38. I don't know how you can play the way Miami has played the last couple of weeks and still be ranked in the top 10. Because you consistently go get down big, and you consistently almost lose games, and you just barely squeak by. That just don't it don't make a lot of sense to me. I don't see how they can keep them ranked the way that they are, because obviously they're horrible. It takes them getting down big and having to have a huge comeback in the fourth quarter to win a ball game. So, anyways, I'm pretty well done ranting about football right now. It's just something. Like I said, I don't know if I told y'all, but I quit watching it, and then I just kind of got back into watching it a little bit, and it turns out that watching the Tide play still gets me as excited as it used to. So here we are. Anyways, in the next couple of weeks, we've got some big things happening. Kansas, the early rifle antlerless hunt starts next weekend. It starts on the 12th. It runs from the 12th to the 14th. I'm getting does pretty regular on my camera, and I am super excited to go out and shoot a deer. I haven't shot a deer since I was in high school at this point. I grew up deer hunted Saturday and Sunday of every weekend for like my whole life up until high school, pretty much the end of high school. And I'm excited to hopefully put some deer on the ground. My old lady every year asks me, Joseph, are you going to deer hunt this year? Joseph, are you going to deer hunt this year? And I'm like, I don't know, Well, I'm going to this year. I have not decided if I'm going to take my 7 mag out this weekend or if I'm going to take a shotgun with some buckshot. But I've been thinking about it, and I may try to use my pistol. I think that would be cool. I would love to hear y'all's feedback on that. If y'all have ever done any deer hunting and you use something like a pistol, I would love to hear your feedback, your thoughts, and what you like or dislike about it. If y'all think that it's not very ethical or whatever, then I would love to hear that, and I would love to hear why. Because I think personally it would be kind of cool to go out and shoot a deer 30 yards with a 9. I, and again, like I said, if that's not very ethical, if that's not something that is very highly looked upon, if it's not something that you should probably do, then again, I know somebody out there has hunted with pistols before for deer, and I would love to hear any feedback that you're willing to give me on that. But other than that, I'm super excited about that. I've got some stuff in the works with what we're calling the deer meth. We're going to try to get that out and get it tested with some other people across the country in different places, and hopefully, if it works for them the way it's worked for me, then I want to try to get that on the market next year, start selling it in a couple of places, and see where we can go with that. It's not a big deal if it doesn't go anywhere, but the idea hit me that one day, and I thought, let's try this, and so I tried it, and 2 days after I put it out, old big boy come walking across camera that I hadn't seen before. So if you'd be interested in getting your hands on some of that and trying it out, give me a holler. And when I make this batch up, I'm going to make a big batch. And like I said, I'm going to send it out to some different people and get some different people testing it in different states and stuff. If you're interested in doing that, give me a holler. I'll send you some out. And I just ask that you share your results. If you put it out in front of a camera, show me what you're getting on camera as time goes on. Do they like it? Do they not like it? Do they like one thing better than that? Do they like this pile of corn 300 yards away better than they like this deer meth that we put out? Or is it about the same? Anyways, if you're interested, let me know. I'll send you some out. Other than that, Big Duck starts on the 26th, I believe it is, and it's the weekend of the 26th. Yes, so October 26th opens up Big Duck here. I am so excited to be shooting ducks again. I can't even tell y'all how excited I am to be shooting these ducks. Even if we don't shoot nothing, I'm super excited to get out there. It's been a long spring, a long summer. I cannot wait to get out there and be watching mallards and widgeon and gadwall backflapping into the decoys. There's just something about it, I can't wait. I feel like some sort of addict or something walking around itching, talking about, oh man, I'm ready to shoot these ducks, which I am ready to shoot these ducks. I'm very, very, very ready to shoot these ducks. So I think that's what I'm going to leave this episode with. It was short. It was a little rant, a little bit of BS. I apologize that the 2 of the last 3 episodes have had to get deleted, and it seems like it's taken forever for us to go from episode to episode. But as I said, we've been having technical issues with the sound stuff. The podcast not coming out right when we go to edit it. You can't hear nothing on one. You can hear everything on another. There was the one we did with Pittman's Ammo. We did 2 parts, and it turns out part 1 you could hear great, fine, perfect. Part 2 you couldn't hear shit on it. So hopefully we get this stuff figured out and we're able to put out good content for y'all that y'all want to listen to week after week here. We're trying to get better on this. We're trying to get everything in a row in order to put this out for y'all. And like I said, we're just having technical issues. So here's to the next couple of weeks and getting better at, figuring out the podcast sounding stuff. I think we've about got it figured out, but I'm not quite sure. So I know we appreciate y'all listening to this. I sure appreciate y'all listening to this. It's Sunday the 6th, so there should be another episode coming out later tonight. Like and comment on this, wherever you get your podcast at. Leave us a rating and review, and share the hell out of this with everybody you know. We sure would greatly appreciate it. And, thanks for coming in, for tuning in. We really appreciate y'all. We really enjoy putting these episodes out. We have a great time doing it. Especially when it's the 2 of us or the 2 of us and a guest. It's super fun. Anyways, y'all holler at us. Y'all leave us some feedback somewhere. And we'll see y'all later tonight. Come on.